You will almost certainly hear about an analysis of variance in your research class. An analysis of variance, more often abbreviated ANOVA, is a way to examine if more than two groups have a statistically significant difference in their mean. We'll be going into more detail about what an ANOVA is. But first, my name is Keegan. I have a master's degree in counseling. I make videos like this to help you better understand the world of counseling, psychology, and mental health. As mentioned, an ANOVA compares more than two groups. You'll likely hear about a one-way ANOVA, which looks at one independent variable amongst the groups. You might also hear about a two-way ANOVA. So if a one-way ANOVA tests one independent variable, a two-way ANOVA tests two independent variables. You might be wondering, what exactly does it mean to test one independent variable versus two independent variables? That's a great question, and to help explain this, let's imagine that we have three groups receiving therapy. Group 1 is completing 5 sessions of therapy, Group 2 is completing 10 sessions of therapy, and Group 3 is a placebo group. Let's say that the independent variable is their treatment, so the number of sessions that they're getting. In this case, we could use a one-way ANOVA to tell us if 5 sessions of therapy versus 10 sessions of therapy versus no sessions of therapy make a difference. Now, let's imagine that we take the same 3 groups and give them the same 3 treatments. Group 1 will be getting 5 sessions of therapy, Group 2 will be getting 10 sessions of therapy, and Group 3 will be getting no sessions of therapy. But let's imagine that in Groups 1, 2, and 3, we give half of the people in that group medication, and we don't give the other half any medication. In this case, a two-way ANOVA could be used to determine if the number of therapy sessions is making a difference, or if the medication is making a difference, or if neither of them are making a difference. When you run an ANOVA, the results are called an F-value or an F-statistic. That result is then compared to an F-table, where you can get the critical value of F. So when the F-value exceeds the critical F, the null hypothesis is then rejected. So as a refresher, let's talk about the null hypothesis. To talk about it, we'll have to think about when we're running an experiment. When you run an experiment, you'll have at least 2 hypotheses. The experimental hypothesis is what you feel might happen in the experiment. In other words, what you're thinking or hypothesizing the results of the experiment might be. The null hypothesis is when there is no difference between the 2 groups. So when the null hypothesis is rejected, this is saying that the variable that you are experimenting with seemed to make some difference. Okay, so now that we've talked about the null hypothesis, we have a bit more to talk about related to an analysis of variance. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this video and finding it helpful, please help me out by giving it a like and subscribing. Okay, so as a reminder, ANOVA is an analysis of variance. You might also come across a multivariate analysis of variance. This is when there is more than one dependent variable. You might also hear about an analysis of covariance. This controls for one or more covariates and the impact that they might have on the dependent variable. So as a reminder, a covariate is an extraneous or an unstudied variable. So that is a bit about an analysis of variance, or ANOVA. I hope that you found this video helpful. While you're here, make sure that you check out some of the other videos on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.